Chapter for today's program, and our topic, as you can see on the screen, is child abuse and neglect. Now, so far, Guyana recorded 2,532 cases of child abuse between January and August 2019, and this is according to the Child Care and Protection Agency. That's an alarming figure that continues to rise as we speak. So how much of an issue is child abuse and neglect in Guyana? Joining me to discuss this, I have with me the director of the Child Care and Protection Agency, Miss Anne Green, who is an expert in this area, and also Commissioner on the Rights of the Child Protection in Guyana, Miss Nicole Cole. She is an expert and also a child's rights activist on this issue. Ladies, thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. We're very happy to have you to discuss this issue because we see as we speak, children are being abused, children are being neglected, and so, there is a need for us to have a discussion of this nature using the platform that Globespan is providing. So first we have to understand, and Ms. Green, you can of course tell us, what is child abuse? I believe that we need to understand what it is and we need to acknowledge it first in order for us to delve in and to unpack the issue. So can you tell us, and of course it has one meaning, but in context with Guyana, what is child abuse?
Child abuse for Guyana is the mistreatment and ill-treatment of children. There are various forms of abuse. And children can be abused by parents failing to do what they're expected to do for children, and it belongs to abuse. There's sexual abuse, there's neglect, there is physical abuse, and the culture in Guyana is beat, licks. But if you're taking constantly and the whole day and this pattern of the licks, it's amongst the abuse. There's emotional or psychological abuse. Children gotta live every day here that they're no good, or they're like the no good mother, or like the no good father. Add to amongst emotional abuse, children being called names. There are various forms of abuse. The one in Guyana has the most reported form, child neglect. And we want child neglect. We have to balance it, because is it really neglect or is it deprivation? Parents being deprived. Poverty is a factor. So neglect is a most reported form of abuse in Guyana. Sexual abuse is behind it very closely with physical abuse. This is the three most reported forms of abuse in Guyana, right?
Okay. How common is the issue of child abuse in Guyana? And of course, I'll start with you, Director, and then I'd like for Ms. Cole to also touch on it. How common is the issue of child abuse in Guyana?
We cannot measure it by the reports that we're getting. We're getting increased reports, but we have been able to contribute that so the more awareness done at the community level, more channels will report. If you put channels to report, you do more awareness work, it will increase the reports. But this does not say that there are more abuse now than was years ago. But there are more reports, and children literally times do not have a voice to even tell of abuse. Children are not even aware that they're being abused. So it cannot be measured by the amount of reports that we have got. Alright? But the reports are increasing, and that is because more work to be done, persons being willing to talk about abuse. So that has increased the reports tremendously.
Ms. Cole, I know you do a lot of work with children. You are a child's rights advocate. You're also a commissioner on the Rights of the Child Commission. How common is the issue of child abuse in Guyana? And this is based on the groundwork that you have done.
The issue, good morning to everyone, and pleasant good morning to Melissa and Director Green, and to the viewers online and yourself, Tracy. The issue is this prevalent. It is that prevalent that we have a young man at the age of 21, I think, a stepfather, who is now placed before the courts and charged with murder of a 4-year-old. Alex Prince is the child, a 4-year-old, who was murdered, blunt trauma to the head. That's the PME by Dr. Nihal Singh would have found, and he was also sodomized. So this is how prevalent it is, because had it not been for the doctors, honestly, and this is why we need doctors on board, had it not been for the pathologist's honest evidence that he would have provided based upon what he found in the science that he practices, which is medicine, pathology, we would not have known that that child succumbed not only due to the blunt trauma to the head, meaning the fact that he was murdered, but he actually succumbed because of the fact that he was also sexually abused, and the prevalence is not now. The prevalence has happened over a period of time, and so we have got to understand that we have to continue to work. We have to continue to agitate and advocate. My agitation at the recent St. Kirkine talks, Common Justice, this is Imani Phillips, all the way to 2013. So we have children who are being raped and murdered, but they do not get justice. I call for justice to get justice to people that are guilty. And we must want to do something about that. We cannot allow our children to be murdered and killed by sex, a sex crime, and we do nothing. This is why the sexual offenders registry, the sexual offenders registry, and this is why the function of the Sexual Offences Act, that is important.
Alright, so we seem to be, we're going to be getting Ms. Green back here in a few as they sort out the connection, and the connection seems to be a bit challenging on Ms. Cole's end as well. And as I said, the issue, our topic today is child abuse and neglect. Melissa Atwell, who is also known as Melly Mel, she's going to be joining us later on in the program to share her story, because she was abused sexually, physically, emotionally, as well as a child and as a teenager as well. So we have Ms. Green back with us. She is the director of the Child Care and Protection Agency, for those of you who may not be familiar with her. And so Ms. Green was talking about why or how common child abuse is in Guyana, and you stressed on the issue of neglect. Now recently, Ms. Green, you said that you emphasized rather that the need to have abusers charged within 72 hours of a crime being committed, and called on the police to be more proactive, because we see sort of in a lot of cases a reactionary type approach by the police. Could you emphasize on that, having abusers charged for this crime within 72 hours? How realistic is that?
It is realistic. The 72 hours is there for you to bring your charge in 72 hours. So it means that the investigating team got to get on it immediately. Because if you think longer, what is happening? The perpetrators are walking away from the crimes. They're walking away from the country. So nothing happens. So it's not 72 hours for the police to just put, or sometimes they might hold the man. They put him in the lockup. And then they keep him there for 72 hours. And nothing is done. And then after the 72 hours, they open the door and they loose him out. So it's gone. So that in the 72 hours, you could bring your charge. So what we need is a quick response team. And this is what we're trying to get. A quick response team for such cases that right away, the team working together, so you have the police, you have the medical people, you have the social workers, you got the NGO group, so and everybody working together. So you get the case and move right through the system. So what is happening? We got a lot of cases. I can tell you that I don't have the exact figure now, but we have a lot of cases that are still at the investigation level and they can't find the perpetrators. So the case that Nicole is talking about, at least they got him. He's in the lockups. All right, so that's one they got. We have several more that they have not gotten. The persons that are gone, they can't find them. And the children, I have to keep them in care because I can't let them go. They don't know where the perpetrator is. They're victims in a case. So most times the children are in care pending the court case, and it takes a long time even to get the matter through the investigation system to get that perpetrator to the court. So it's something that has been bothering me for quite some time. This whole idea where they think 72 hours is just to hold the perpetrator and then loose it out. No, you could bring your case in 72 hours.
That's totally understandable. And for the people who may not understand, when you use the term care, it's basically sort of like protective custody for the children. So these kids are already victims, and it's like they're victimized twice.
Yeah.
Ms. Cole, can you touch on the psychological effects of the issue of child abuse and neglect, and then being re-victimized?
In a case in a primary school, and the teacher is telling me that this child is just being bad and do not pay attention. Of course, the teacher was not aware that the child was experiencing child sexual abuse. It was that much from the stepfather that the day that the stepfather, usually when the stepfather but that he would have so I was investigating the case, and when I went to the teacher, she told me that the child would tear out pages from the back from in her books and would be eating paper, the different things that the child would be doing. But all of this that the child was doing because of the trauma that the child was needing in the intervention, there's still not enough intervention. And so after it came to the child.
We see, Ms. Cole, we're not hearing you that clearly. The internet seems to be...
Are you hearing me better now? Are you hearing me better now?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I was saying that when we take with that child that I dealt with who was eating the paper at the back, that child was undergoing a psychological trauma that stemmed from her abuse. But teachers, the teacher at that time was not trained to actually recognize that. So the teacher thought that their behavior was more of being the child being deviant and not wanting to learn. But the child was experiencing that abuse by her stepfather on a nightly basis. And so the psychological trauma is much. We have high incidence of suicide. I think I touched on this on the last. We don't need to really take deep. Our high incidence of suicide is an association very essential in society. And it's high children in all the assizes, the Demerara, the Essequibo, and Burmese assizes. In all of them, what we are seeing is that the penchant or the appetite for children is exponential. I mean, I've heard Director Green scream, shout, holler, and bawl of what is happening to the children and the fact that men are only targeting children for sex. Hence, what has happened with Alex Prince, what has happened with Leonard Archibald, what has happened with Sadie Stobie, Lisa Gopal, and all the others that would have died horrendously in this country. We haven't begun to even scratch the tip of the iceberg. Should have how many child psychologists? Perhaps two? 2 or 3 is insufficient. Guyana needs a host of in every region. We should have a psychologist in every region. you should have the decentralization of services and you should have an agency. Because if you think abuse on the coast here is bad, in the hinterland it's worse because it is even covered up by persons in the community as much as the two showers. And I'm not hitting at the two showers, but I know of cases whereby people go to the two showers and the two showers push it up and cover it down and nothing is done. It doesn't come to the fore. That has to stop too.
As well. And that brings me to my next question for the director. There have been cases that have been settled at the level of the police. Is this legal?
No, it's not legal at all. Cases cannot be settled at the level of the police. The police, the Sexual Offences Act says every case must be investigated in its entirety. It cannot be settled at the level of the police. No. I've heard cases where mothers are going to the police to settle cases. They cannot settle a case. If they go to settle the case, they should be charged as an accessory to the crime. They should be charged. It cannot settle at the police station. It has to settle at the courts. It cannot settle at the police station. It must go through the system. A parent can't go and say to the police that they don't want story to end it. If they do that, I'm saying to the police, they're an accessory to the crime. And they should be charged as such or trying to pervert the justice be happening. So it's not legal at all.
So the police can be charged, and I want for everyone who's listening to the program to understand that cases of sexual abuse, child neglect cannot be settled at the level of the police. That is not legal. And you're saying that the police should be charged if they attempt to.
Well, then it's their elected duty. They have to investigate the case and they have to go to the DPP to get the advice if there's something in the case that they must get evidence to cross. Something happening in the case, they have to seek advice from the Director of Public Prosecutions. So they can't just and then
we seem to be having some challenges with Miss Green's audio. Yes, I'm not sure what's happening. So we have, thank you so much, Miss Green. We have Melissa Atwell, who's also known as Melly Mel. She is the founder of the You Are Not Alone non-governmental organization, YANA. And Melissa is an advocate for women and children. Melissa, welcome to the program. She is joining us via an audio call. Melissa, you were abused as a child. I'd like for us to go back because I wanted to hear from the perspective of someone who was abused, sexually, physically abused. Can you share your story with me? At what age did the abuse start, and for what period did it last?
Hi, Tracy. Good morning, listeners. Thank you for having me. Sorry about the Skype. I don't know what's happening, but
that's okay. Thanks for joining us. Nevertheless,
I'm not getting connected. But how are you? Yes, Tracy. You asked me as a child what?
I just wanted to know at what age did the abuse start, and for what period did it last, and what happened during that period?
For me, I started getting sexually abused from as long as I could remember. I think it started like about 3 because I was very, very young. And it lasted for quite a while until I was about, let's say 10, 11. I was entering, till I finished writing common entrance and I entered secondary school.
And it was for that long period that you were being abused?
Yeah.
And were your abusers close relative friends? What? Walk me through that period, Melissa.
Oh yes, they were very close family members who lived with me at the time. And like I said, for those of you who read my story on Yana, and I lived in an extended family, so it was my grandmothers and uncles and cousins, and everybody that was living in that house was there. So the persons who were abusing me were family members, very close family members.
And what was that like? Did you try getting help from your mother, from your grandmother?
Everybody, no. Here's the thing, Tracy. I think as abusers, everybody tends to ask us, "Oh, why is it you didn't say anything?" Or why is it you didn't say anything to somebody, or say something to your mother, or your grandma, somebody. But let me just explain this. It's like, as a child, first of all, when you're being sexually abused, especially if you're not educated on what sexual abuse is from a very young age. So I didn't have anybody at 3 and 4 and 5 years old telling me, educating me in school or saying to me, because those kind of topics were considered to be, only big people talk about that. Only big people discuss those things, or only big people are supposed to be doing those things. So as a child, you don't have anybody telling you, it's wrong for your cousin or for an uncle or for your grandfather or for your father to be touching you certain way, or to be kissing you, or to be fondling you, or to be trying to put his private in your mouth and those kind of things. So nobody were educating kids back then. I still think you're not. Me personally, I still don't think, as somebody who survived being abused and who survived rape, I still don't think that we educate people enough. We educate kids enough. I don't think we educate them early enough to see the signs, or to let them know, like, hey, this is wrong, this is sexual abuse, this is considered wrong, and your parents and your grandfather or your father, your uncle, nobody's supposed to be doing this to you, nobody's supposed to be. And we need another thing that I think abusers use to scare, like to scare the victims, is kind of tell them, like, if you tell somebody this, your mother is going to beat you, or she's not going to believe you, or the police is going to arrest you. And we need to break away from that culture of telling kids, like I noticed some people use this as a form of, like, you want me to call the police on you? You want me to call the police on you? So all these things are things that abusers use to their advantage. As if you say this to somebody, we can call the police on you, or you'll get locked up, or we can lock up your parents, or we can kill your parents, and all these things. So we need to move. I think we need to move away from that culture, and we need to start educating kids from a very, very, very young age to know, to see the signs, to know when they're being abused, to know when somebody is doing something to them that they're not supposed to be doing, know when somebody's touching them inappropriately. And they need to, parents also need to have a very, very, very clear, an open communication with their kids as it relates to these things. Speak to them from an early age. Stop leaving your children with uncle or aunt, your cousins to watch. Stop leaving your kids for people to watch. This is not just little girls, little boys as well. I just recently read about a 4-year-old who was sodomized by his stepfather, and he died. Listen, Tracy, when I see things like that and when I hear things like that, it breaks my heart, because coming from somebody who's been there, I completely understand what's happening and what's going on, and it's just sad. And I mean, I was doing an interview a few months back, and somebody had asked me if I think that the Ministry of Social Protection is doing enough, and I noticed that you have Anne Green on the line. If I think the Ministry of Social Protection is doing enough as it relates to child abuse and molestations and all these things. And what I said to them, I said, I won't say that the Ministry of Social Protection is not doing enough, but what I will say is that they are doing their best with the resources that is allotted to them.
And I want to talk about
a very harsh reality, Tracy.
It is,
because social workers can. We are not magicians. We're not
exactly. And I say this to them.
We can't make magic happen with little money. We need the resources to make it happen.
Exactly. And that is what I said to him. I said, you cannot blame the Ministry of Social Protection. You cannot blame the social workers. They are trying their best, and they are doing their best with the resources that they have to them.
And I want to bring in the director now. I want to bring the director in, because I know she wants to add.
What it comes here, you see, child protection is not just the business of the Ministry of Social Protection.
Thank
We know
you.
It's
child
everybody's business.
abuse when you tell us. Child protection starts in the home, the school, the community, everybody. Everyone, child protection is everyone's business. What our challenge is to get the public sensitized and aware to change social change for the attitude of where how children are viewed and treated. So it's a big job, but it's not just for child protection and child care and protection agency alone. It's a big job for all. Everyone must be on board. You must look out for children. And I said it starts in the home. So what we're doing is trying to build the parents' capacity. All right, we're trying with a lot of awareness, do communication for development, using various strategies, persons to sensitize, to become aware of the plight of children who suffer abuse, and the public protective code. People are knowing children. Every
We seem to be having some problem with Miss Green's audio. Again, I do
I
apologize.
am kind of hearing her scramble.
here. You're not hearing me?
Here,
Is it
Better. A little better. Just
better? Huh? Is it
hearing you
better?
better.
yeah.
All right, yes. So we have to look at the of the social norms and those cultural things that put children at this make them vulnerable. So we are trying to do that. I am hearing Melissa saying yes to get to children early. So we have some programs going at the early childhood development. You know how to be safe and that your dad or your mom ain't got no right to touch your parts and so on. If you're sick or so on, they take you to a doctor. They must be there to see. And so on. We are educating children at the level, but it's a job. It's quite a job. And we
But
need
Miss Green, let me just say this. Something else that I want to make aware. I noticed you said something earlier about child abuse and molestation or these things being everybody's business. And what I need to make this like, because I've reached out to you a few times and you have reached out personally to me and offer your help and I report a case and stuff like that. But what I say to people, instead of, because people reach out to me every day about somebody being abused and all these things and all these issues that they want. And I'm saying to them, instead of reaching out to me, it is your job. So it's not just like, it's not just like
A select few to deal with this issue.
A select few.
Yeah. It's everybody's business.
Instead of reaching out to me, yeah, call them in the social protection, report if you notice something. Teachers in school also have to have a part to play. If you notice a child is behaving funny
A certain way.
in school, like, question them. Like, ask them, what's happening at home and stuff like that. All of us have to play a part, not just the parent or...
And the teachers did play a role. We must never forget it's the teachers who brought to the case of Nicole Cole. Queen's
And that is
College.
why
The teachers is who acted.
Exactly, and that is why I think another thing too, as teachers, what we need to start doing is maybe if we can have, we don't have to. I mean, teachers, they already have they do a wonderful job and they do so much. That is why I rally for them so much. They deserve every single raise of pay. They deserve every single incentive that they're getting because they work so hard and they do so much. But I'm saying if we can also educate teachers to notice signs, not to be a counselor or anything like that, but if we can just give them little tips, educate them to notice signs so that they might be able to pinpoint in schools, like, hey, I think this person is being abused, or I think something is going on at home with this person. Maybe we need to investigate, maybe we need to find out, see what's happening there.
Must be wrong at home.
Even the Tell. You remember Tell, Andrew? You remember Tell?
But then also, ladies, on the issue of and Miss Cole raised the issue of Lisa Gopal. That was something that I think I'm still traumatized by.
That the teachers pointed out. That the teachers
they did point out, but they pointed out that issue, and this is not to blame the teachers or whatnot, but they pointed it out very late.
I can't
because
hear you now. It's gone.
Are you
I'm
hearing
hearing.
me? Is everyone hearing
Tracy,
me?
the audio is bad. Like
Hearing you,
everybody's
Tracy.
breaking up.
Tracy, I didn't hear
Are you all hearing me?
Mhm.
Are you all hearing me?
I
Yeah,
know.
we
I'm
hear
hearing
you
you
now.
now, Tracy.
There was a
Okay.
time you were lost. I didn't
Okay.
hear you with the initial call thing you were saying.
Yeah, so I'm saying I'm making a point with Nisa Gopal, and this is not to blame teachers, but they did point out that Nisa was being abused, but it was too late because she already lost her life, and then they had to make certain shifts. But it did change. It did create a movement where teachers should be more aware and to recognize signs, and Melissa made the point on that. I also now want to touch, I was talking about the psychological effects. Oftentimes child abuse victims are left to their own device, and you know, we have this perception in Guyana, we're not big on counseling, and they're going to bounce back and they're going to be okay, and so you leave them and you're thinking to yourself, oh, over a couple of period of time they're going to get better and they're going to get over it. Miss Green.
Well, let me just clear that up for you, Tracy. That
Yeah, I
never
want to hear
happened.
from you, Melissa, as well. Like how did you deal with that? Are you over what happened to you?
Still deal with it. It never goes away, Tracy. I'm a survivor.
That's what I'm. Thank you,
still
Nicole,
deal
for
with
saying that. It never happens.
goes
It never
away.
goes away.
There's sometimes you're
Like,
taking long showers. You want to know why you're in the bathroom so long. Long showers is a psychological effect.
Yeah, but let me comment.
not only that, Nicole, is like as like certain things triggers you. Like when I say certain things, like you will notice certain things and it triggers you. For me, like I think each abusers, like they have something in particular that they don't like. They have something in particular that triggers them. For me, it's milk. I don't drink tea. I don't like milk because that kind of triggers me. But for somebody else who was abused, it might be something else.
So this is something, Melissa, that you have been you're still dealing with.
Yes.
You deal with it all the time, Tracy. It doesn't go away. That is why I say that people, I personally believe that people who rape and stuff and abuse kids and all these things should have life in prison because we, the victims, suffer for the rest of our life.
Yes.
I want to bring the director in. And director, I want to ask a specific question on this here. What were some of the effects that children suffered as a result of abuse that you have interacted with? Some of the worst effects?
They all suffer traumatic, they go through traumatic experience there. They suffer the psychological abuse, mental health issues the children are having. Every child that come into care now, we're allowing them to see the psychologist, must make an evaluation of that child. And as Miss Martha said, that you suffer forever. But some children are resilient. There's resiliency in children that they bounce back. All right, because you got to get on with your life, so you bounce back. So there's resiliency, but it's abuse, it lasts forever, and it goes from generation to generation. Because yes, we have cases, grandmother was abused, then the daughter was abused, they turned a blind eye, and the granddaughter was abused, all internally. So it's from generation to generation. That's why we have to prevent it. Because yes, people suffer, but children are resilient. But we are exposing them to the psychologist now, and every child, as is not enough, but we're trying every child, particularly sexual abuse, is seen by the psychologist.
And let me just ask you this: do you believe?
Melissa, one second. I just want Melissa, one sec. I just want for Ms. Green to finish this part off, and then you'll get to interject. I just want for her to get this out.
We have established with the NGO where we turn the child advocacy
centers
and one-stop center, where a child only have to tell the hurt and pain one time, and it's recorded, and they're able to follow the case through the system, and also provide that support for the children after, to help with the care after, to help them to get the therapy to deal with the traumatic experiences. So things are happening for the victims. Yes, we need more hands. Yes, we need more resources. But as a professional, we got to do our best job in what we got, so we can't make excuses. So we try to do the best we can with the resources that we have. All right. So there are things that are happening for the victims of abuse.
Melissa, go ahead.
Anne Green, I was saying this. Do you think it's time? Don't you think it's time that we should have sex offenders registry.
Miss Cole pointed out to that, and I'll bring her in a few.
Yes, we're working. We started at the agency. We're working at the child abuse registry. So part of it too will be the sex offenders. But started it since 2 years. We're working on getting it. So that we have to go back and do a 5 years look at to put it on the register. We have the register right now. We've got recorded data, but it's not yet available to people to go online and get it, because there are things got to be done. We have to go through a research, because you could only put on this register if all your appeal has been exhausted and so on. There are things that happen, but we have started it, and I was hoping that it would be able to be out on the net this year, but it doesn't look like that, but it will get out there by next year. So we are working on that.
So another thing, the long drawn out court system where they put where you're going, where a child who's been abused and raped or anything, where they're going to court for 1 and 2 years and all of that before the case is finally called, or before
So basically, are there systems? Yeah, are there systems in place?
We must commend the government. We have 3 new sexual offences courts, and the DPP reported at the 19th Turkine Talks on the 25th of July 2019, to which Ms. on that panel right there along with myself, that we've had a rise in convictions. And so we must commend the setting up and the establishing of the sexual offences court, which has been given a good review by the
and I must say for the last month or so.
The recent that was on 16th September 2019.
We're having some issues with Miss Cole, your audio. We're having some issues hearing you. If you can just check that out.
Be better?
Go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
It's still a bit distorted.
The sexual offences court is doing tremendous work. The DPP reported that, so we must commend what is happening now. For example, there's a cases used to take 12 and 10 years and all of that, but I'm looking at the case out of Linden. This is the 8-year-old walked into the probation office all by herself to tell of her rape by her own father. He's already convicted, and that did not happen before. In progress in the conviction rate, DPP reported on the 25th, 2019, the Interrogated Sexual Violence Forum that.
So Ms. Green, and Miss Cole has pointed out that there has been progress in and a rise in conviction, and the time frame is somewhat shorter now for abused victims. But I'd like for you to add to that. And is there anything else that we can do to speed up this process instead of dragging it along, and you have the abused victims reliving their horror over and over again with the long drawn out process instead of giving them closure?
Yes, there have been an increase in convictions as cases are moving speedily to years gone by. As Nicole said, yes, they were 12 to 7 years, an average of 7 years to get a case before the court. Wow. That's where we had started. 7 years was the average to get a case to the judge. Now it's going in 2 and 3 years very quickly. It's going now. So thanks to the systems putting the sexual offences court, and that court is a victim-friendly court, because the victim don't really have to see the abuse and so on. So things are happening, and we must, and I am saying, I am feeling real much comfortable on the way it's going. But as I said, what is the problem? But we have to get more speedy investigations. That's where the difficulty is. And that's where that I'm clamoring for us to have a special victims unit with so that they can move.
And I support you. I support you, Director Green, because I called for a special victim unit since 2011.
Yes,
when the Imam case. Remember the Imam case out of Turkey?
Yes.
With the Imam and I called for a special victim unit. But what is here, Tracey? We want to have honest policemen and women in those units. When you get reports covering up sex crimes. It scares me, Andre. I am fearful because we social workers work behind the scenes tirelessly to bring cases
Oh
to
my,
the fore and to have
Nicole, I
police
understand exactly
who are
what you're
supposed to
saying.
be upholding the law engaging in the covering up of sex crimes is wrong. That has to be called out. That is a challenge we're dealing with. How could you have police in the major sex crimes unit covering up gang rapes because there's involvement of alleged police children and all of that? That cannot happen. Everybody has to work together, especially our doctors who are careful to get evidence. And we know that DNA evidence is critical. The medical certificate remains the key in convictions.
Yeah. But if we get the special victims unit and now with DNA and so on, things will move much better. If we can get that. The courts are in, but it's the investigation now that is the problem. Because the investigation, it is the police doing the investigation and the charging. It's not us. But the act says that they should be linked to them.
We're having a problem with Miss Green's audio again.
I'm hearing a terrible feedback. I don't know from who, but I can't hear anything properly.
Are you hearing? Are you all hearing?
I'm hearing feedback. You hearing me better now?
Yes. I'm hearing you better now, yeah?
There's noise here. I'm getting noise, but I'm hearing. But
I'm hearing you better now. I'm hearing clearer. Anybody hearing me?
I hear
yes,
you.
Yes, we're hearing each other now. Yes, Miss Green, go ahead.
Yes, I'm saying that if the investigation into health,
all right, we still are having a
moving. In terms of moving the investigation quickly, what I'm saying, moving faster, but there still be no gated.
Okay, now on the flip side, we're talking about issues of police officers covering up abuse, crimes and all that. But there are some officers who are proactive as against being reactive. But when they attempt to obtain evidence, this can be obstructed in some cases by parents or guardians. How do we deal with that?
Well, yes, I don't want to accuse police and I don't have of a case. I want to be a little more.
This is a general concern. This is not us accusing anyone, but in cases like that.
All right. I don't, at the moment, we don't have any case that I know that they're covering up on. If I know of a case they're covering up on, I'm telling you, I get them. If that report is given that they're not moving on a case, we can get it. They can come tell us, and we sort personally with cases that are not big. What happened, the always thing that they lock up the perpetrator, and then they lose him out, and they really can't find him. He's gone. He's gone away from the case, even out of the country. So it's this whole 72 hours thing. If they move quickly, they can go through the process and he gets into the lockdown, the jail. So that is what is the problem for me, this whole 72 hours. That they're just holding them and then they're losing them out.
But what the police has called for, Director Green, and this is an E division, the police is saying that in Brazil, the police in Brazil have 90 days. 90 days.
We're
ramifications.
Let me explain the
have to do with the ramifications of our law, and that we are.
No, let me explain.
2 hours.
All right.
But the police is saying that it is part of the law and their hands are tied.
All right, let me explain. They have 90 days here too. So the thing is, you got enough evidence and you do the initial disciplinary, you can go to the court and the magistrate will give 90 days to complete the file. So the law is here too. So it's just that first.
Ms. Green.
Enough evidence that they have that they could carry the court and then get in 90 days. Complete your file.
I hear you, and I support that.
Yes, are here too. The law is here.
how I was told it. I'm just relating what I was told by officers. Perhaps if it is and they don't know, then some amount of education and awareness needs to occur, and this is why the functioning of the sexual offense. See, the last report that offenses that task force gave, I sit on it, is in 2016. Education is a key component of that task force, to educate and to make people aware. Because if the police is not aware that the 90 days exists here, then we have to make them aware.
Nicole, the police are aware. Let me tell you, the police will tell us the file gone to the DPP. And I'll tell the officers, you go check at the DPP, and the file is not there. They're saying that. So it's the delay. The file is not there. The DPP look at the file in 4 days. So the police, they have 9 days. They know. But again, too, there's a whole lot of work that they got. So if they get the special victims unit where you're just looking at the cases of child abuse, domestic violence, and so on, so they got enough. But the police, it's a lot of work that they're doing. So they got this whole delay stuff. So the 72 hours, they know 90 days, they know that they have that, they use it. They go to court and they get the 90 days to finally prepare the file. But you need enough evidence just to bring the charge. Carry the file to the DPP, she will look at it, say yes, you're going to carry it to court. You go to court, and then I ask the magistrate, we just have to put this down. That's what I want. If really, push it to get cases to the court, so the persons are not walking away from the crime. I can tell you a number of cases of, and what definitely we're looking at now to get things moving, the investigation that I'm seriously concerned about, it is hampering the cases.
Okay,
yeah, but then how do we make the police do proper work? It is shoddy detective work that make Kimani Phillips on to now. No justice for her. No one has been held accountable because of the poor work that has been done. Poor kids.
All right, so thank you, ladies. So see, to wrap up now, I would have each of you just give some closing remarks on this issue, and what advice would you give to on how they can help and make this everybody's business. Do we have a...
The child protection is everybody. Everybody. I need the public to be more vigilant, to watch out for children. If you see something, say something. If you hear something, do something. Everyone, it's not just, God is not minding your neighbor's business. It's being concerned and watching out for a child. If you see something and look right, it probably is not right. So just tell us, we will find out what it is. It might just that a mother might disappear for a couple of days. Just tell us, let's come. Let's see what's happening next door. People going in and out, the children be, whatever it is. We need the public, we need the community. Members of the community, you need to know who you have in your community there. That this is the one with the 4-year-old. Now the community saying that gets him in trouble with other children. So why is he still in there?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
This is the kind of we want. You got to do something. How you gonna know man molesting children and a whole community in saying nothing? Now we kill a child. Oh, come on. So there's more to be done at the community level. We're partnering with local groups at the community level. We're encouraging them. We're doing programs with them so that they could become more real and to look out for children. Children are being groomed for sexual activity. This is one that is concerning us. And they're being groomed at places where people will never even expect that they're being groomed. Even in those religious organizations.
Man in the church.
All the religious organizations. And then again, you see when you groom a child, what you're doing, some of them, they're even alter that child's sexual preference. You see, so they altering the child's sexual preference, because if a male grooming a male,
Yes.
grooming they're altering the child's sexual preference. They're robbing them of the person that they were meant to be. So sexual grooming is serious. It carries $1 million fine and jail. Sexual grooming is dangerous to children. So we've been working with the coaches, people in the sports arena. They're very supportive. We've had sessions with the coaches. In fact, what we're going after now, all organizations and agencies that have interaction with children, you're going to develop a child protection policy to say how you're going to relate to children here. There's no private coaching. If you're coaching out in the open. If you're having one-on-one sessions, you're going to combine it with other people sitting there and talking. There's certain things that we're laying out that you do, because we have reports. I always talk about this. A lady told me that a child was being coached in a sport, and he was taken out for the day, and he came back, and he has not been the same child since. So it's just a question of sexual grooming that is really, really being very concerned about it. So all the interactions, so even if you're running a little Sunday school, you're going to get a policy there. I want to work with you, and if we're going to help you, or what is going to happen here, how you're going to relate to the children coming to this place. So we're going after that. We've had some sessions with all the groups, and we definitely in the new year, everywhere, if you're having children lessons, yes, wherever children, you have an interaction with children, your organization, you're going to have to develop a policy for interaction of children. How you're going to treat this, how one person taking out a child. No, not to happen again, a coach taking out a child for the day. No. It has to be a coaching session out in the open, and even the parent can come and sit down and watch.
Excellent.
So yes. Those are the things that are going to have to happen. That's how we're going to help protect children. Early, have to do since they meet age that is age appropriate, since they can start to walk and talk, and you tell them about safe touch. That must be done. We're working towards doing that at the play school level, and all the children must know that what is good touch and what is bad touch, how safe is good touch. So early, and as the children grow, that you build that rapport so you can talk more to them on things that are happening, how they can put. Children must not take responsibility for the protection of themselves, but we have to give them a first line of defense. Yes. How to say no, and then run and to tell somebody. Yeah. So the first line of defense that we will be giving to them, but a child protection is the adult. This adult must be boarding the children with protecting themselves, but every child needs to get a first line of defense. What I can do if we are working with the groups to get that to groups that could working with children that you tell them. So during the school vacation, I did a lot of work with the Bible vacation schools. We went to them so we can get the talk to children there, because the children us are the ones that sexually abuse them, because you get very close to them, they trust you. That's how you get them. It is never a stranger. 1 and 2 strangers would get close to a child. Most of the children who are sexually abused are known to the children. It's children that they trust. Children whose care they were left in the care, who are able to sexually abuse them. This information we have our Facebook page, we're putting on information up there. We're trying to really engage the community, to make the public aware. It's the only way. We have to get a social change, how we treating children, how we view children. They're not miniature adults, but they're little people. And you have to treat them with respect. You have to handle them properly. So we're giving all this information out there because we hope to get a social change, so that we can be able to lessen it and get this child abuse out of our society. Thank you. Yeah.
Brief closing remarks, Ms. Cole.
Thank you very much for having me, Tracey. As usual, hear me?
Audio. There's a buzz.
There's a buzz.
Are you hearing better?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to definitively Green can say but TEL is not on air like it used to be. You see, the TEL scheme is a big educational platform for children as well as parents. And what TEL did recently is to add the boy child to the equation. So because when it started initially, TEL was just a girl, Nancy, but now you have the boy because boys are under attack. And Green would know from the reports that she's receiving. So we want the TEL scheme to be on air. The TEL must always be funded. And I'm happy for Spotlight initiative by the EU, UN, because some of that monies, I'm saying that the TEL, and I'm pushing that, TEL scheme can be back on air, and so that children know, because look at what an 8-year-old did, Tracey. She took action. The community knew. This is the case out of Linden, Region 10, where that 8-year-old went to tell social workers, probation officers that her father was troubling her. It is a child who brought her abuse to an end. And so we have to have tools for the children for them to defend themselves. We have to give children the opportunity for them to defend themselves. But the TEL scheme is important. I'm also calling for the reconvening of the Sexual Offences Task Force, which has a key component as education. We have to keep educating. And because, look, we are in Cancer Awareness Month. We have to now adopt a slogan in protecting our children, that early detection save life. We have to use that very slogan. If we are able to detect, we can be able to prevent many of things that happen with children. But if we don't have the education and awareness, and persons are able to just prey on children willy-nilly at will, then we will be defeating ourselves and the purpose which our laws stand. The Protection of Children Act that I hold in my hand here tells you that we all have a responsibility, but then all the systems in order for that to occur, and the Sexual Offences Task Force is key, which Child Protection have a role there too. Ministry of Social Protection and all the other ministries. But we can't be treating sexual abuse as though it's a game of cricket at 2020 for March. And so we just play it now and then we wait for next year. We have to keep at it. Every day I go to bed, I wake up and study how I can get pedophiles to the front and to bring them down, because they are the ones who are wreaking havoc in this society. They are the ones who are mashing up the society, because when a child is abused, you also abuse the adult that that child would have become. The substance abuse is another psychological effect and drawback from it. Promiscuity, all of that. So when we see things that are occurring, we want to blame people and to lash them up, but we don't know what has happened to them. So we want the systems to work and to work for us here in Guyana. There is a recent survey that will soon to be released, Tracey. It is called the Women's Health and Family Life Survey. It will show you that in Guyana, we have a high prevalence of sexual violence and nobody wants to talk about it. Silence is deafening, Director Green. It is deafening with children and it's more deafening with adults, whereby even the minister, we're talking about Minister Rumscott, particularly to intervene in a case that she's trying to get the police involved in. Again, the police remain frontline. And so I call upon the Commissioner of Police to forever have within his mandate and the curriculum training, because we got to continue. We can't give up the fight. We have to continue to fight to protect our children. They are the youngest and most vulnerable in our society, and we have to do better. I thank you.
Thank you so much to our viewers. Thank you all for tuning in today, to Director Green, to Ms. Cole and Melissa, for sharing your stories, your expertise on how we can deal with this issue. I'd like to thank Devon, the entire team, and also Globespan 24x7 for always creating this platform that we can sit and we can discuss all of these social issues affecting our community. So thank you all for tuning in, and do enjoy the rest of the weekend. Ladies, thank you again.
Thank you, Tracey. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
Take care.